I love that intro.
Thank you.
I love it. That was amazing. I feel honored.
Oh, I know.
It's quite the honor to have you on in our honorable show.
Thank you guys. And thank you. I'm so sorry for the wait, everybody. Me, not tech savvy whatsoever, but we made it work.
We did. We're here and it looks awesome.
Yeah, that is actually the first time we've ever had a technical issue on the podcast. So
of course it would be me.
No.
That makes the most sense.
He is so lying right now.
He is so kidding.
You guys, I had a really cute setup that I had made up.
It was so pretty.
I know. I'm I had my plant. I was all ready.
It still looks great.
Now I have a great background.
Well, but it's classic. It goes with everything.
Yeah, this is where I hold when I have to do at-home auditions and stuff. This is my little mock setup. Now you guys all get to be privy to it.
We need to tell everybody who you are.
Yes.
Yes.
It's in the title, but we should talk about it.
Yeah. Well,
we should.
We're very excited to do a live interview on YouTube on the Cinemando channel with the star and producer of the new feature film, Alex October, which will have its premiere tonight at the TCL Chinese Theater in Hollywood as part of the Dances with Films Film Festival. Please, a big hearty hello to Tara Shayne. Hi, Tara.
Hi.
So great to have you on.
Yeah, so great to be here. Thank you guys so much.
That's so exciting. You get to be at the Chinese Theater. I think that's really cool. That's wow.
It's
it's literally the coolest thing.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
We were very lucky to see the film. We loved it, by the way. We think it's great.
Thank you.
So, we'll start with that. How did you get interested in the project? How did this film sort of happen?
So I actually met Josh Hope, our director, years ago at the Sedona Film Festival, which is an amazing film festival if you guys have never been or anyone who's ever been there. But we met so our films were paired together. I had a short film that opened for his feature. And then we ended up hitting it off. We had very similar storytelling styles, and we, just have very similar taste in film. And we just kind of started talking. And after running into each other at a few festivals, I was like, send me some stuff. I'd love to read your other projects. And he sent me a handful of scripts, and I read them all literally that night. And then Alex October was the one that, from the moment, the first word on paper, I was like, I have to make this movie. I have to make this.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. We should show the trailer.
He's such an amazing writer, Josh. And you can, I read it all in one sitting. It's hard sometimes to read a script through in one whole sitting and really be that enthralled from beginning to end. But from the minute I started reading it, I couldn't stop. I was like, I have to know what happens to these people. Yeah. I have to know where they go. And I was like, I have to finish this. So I was up, reading it, and and his writing is so effortless that you can read it so fast and you don't have any questions. It's just very whimsical. So I really loved that.
It's funny you say that, because when I watched it, I didn't want it to end. When it ended, I wanted to know more. What's going to happen to them? Don't make me just say goodbye to these people right now. I want to know.
That's literally the best compliment you could ever get.
No, I felt that way too.
I felt I knew them.
It was there were such well-drawn characters, and it's almost a bit of a heartbreak when you have to break up with these people. You know what I mean? It's you're these are my friends. You kind of not you know everything about them, but you do kind of get to where you're okay, I'm invested in these people. You want to know more, and that's what a good script. It lets you kind of invent the what happens after they're sitting there. I'm not going to spoil anything, but
totally.
What
I love when I watch film, for me, it's I love when the audience isn't stupid. You know what I mean? We don't have to spoon feed everything to them. I love when there's a script that leaves questions and kind of lets the audience interpret things as they will. And I love that kind of stuff. So I loved in the script that these people were so layered. And I also loved how flawed they all are. They all are so, they have so many different layers to them. And that to me was the most intriguing part when I first read it, and just even making it was trying to keep the the spontaneity alive of filming and have that really come across from the page onto screen.
Yeah,
It definitely does. You get
like
that
the end of the
sense.
film is the beginning, and it's
Yeah.
it's also a kind of a story that to me it's unusual in the way that it's not your standard. It's not what you expect. You know, it's not a. I mean, I hope little spoilers. I don't know if this spoils any.
No,
but
no spoilers.
Don't
Yeah.
spoil it.
I want to say something that the film is not, that a film that films like that often are, and you kind of expect it to be, and it's not. And I love that. I love, and it's similar to there's a couple of other films like that. I was talking to Kathy and Mark earlier that for some reason it reminded me of a movie called The Sterile Cuckoo, with Liza Minnelli. If you've never seen it,
I haven't.
It's a great flawed character. It's a 70s film. Liza Minnelli got an Academy Award nomination for it. She plays this girl named Pookie, and you know this love story at two very different people, and
I'm gonna have
she's
to check
flawed.
that
and
out.
Yeah, it's really good.
it's called The Sterile Cuckoo, and it's
I love that name.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
The
It's so
title
good.
alone is like, I want to watch that.
It's so good.
yeah.
Before-
She's a mess, and you know the characters are a mess, but you realize that their sort of cocky attitude as a cover for kind of a vulnerable side and all that. And as the story progresses, you start to see the cracks in the character, and you realize how flawed and sad these people are. But you know, sometimes two damaged pieces can fit together and fix the whole thing.
Totally. Those are
And I
my
like-
favorite characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love those like broken, wrecked characters. They're the most fun to watch, and they're the most fun to play. Those are the
Yeah,
ones
I
that
can
feel
imagine.
like
So juicy.
I want to
been
be
playing.
that messed up person.
I've been playing one my whole life.
Yeah.
We should show the trailer so that everybody who's here can get a vibe for what this movie feels like. 'Cause it's a really
Yeah.
good trailer too. So
Yeah.
I'll let it play.
Jimmy, roll that trailer.
Hey.
Hello.
Are you the guy?
Maybe. I'm Alex. From the internet.
Hi, my name is Pearl, and I'm an alcoholic.
I put
Dude, you guys, there's somebody on here asking for someone to kill him.
Wait, like an assassin?
I don't know, I guess.
Man, there's a lot of fucked up people in this world.
Are you okay?
Is there something you want to tell me?
What are your intentions with her?
What do you mean? You like pancakes?
What?
You like that? Do you like when I call you daddy?
No.
Great stuff. And you know, of course, you play October, Tara, and then Brad Hunt plays Alex. And what a great, I mean, two great acting performances. I mean, you're the center part of this film. I thought you both of you were incredibly impressive.
Thank you.
And, you see, and I love also the trailer because it is an extended scene in the record store. It's not like super cuts, you know. So
Yeah.
you really get a sense in the first 30 seconds of that trailer of what this movie is about. Two characters meeting and going through the relationship, and who knows where it goes. So it's very unpredictable. But it's a great
Yeah.
trailer too. Yeah.
Thank you. I know. I love in the record store. That's one of my favorite scenes because it's so mysterious. Like you don't know, you know what I mean? What's going to happen. I loved that scene when I read it, and I loved filming it. And I also loved that Josh, our director, was so great in really letting us breathe in the film. You know what I mean? I love when I watch films and you don't feel rushed, or they let that breath between lines and those moments happen. Those are kind of like some of my most favorite moments when nothing is even said. So I loved that, like in that scene, he was like, just, just let it breathe. Just, we can take our time with it. It doesn't, this is like such a crucial moment when these two people first meet, their worlds finally collide.
Right.
You know what I mean? We can let that kind of
and
play out.
also, we've all been in a position where maybe you have to meet somebody at a place and you don't know who you're meeting. We're not in this particular, and so you get that sense, like, could that be him or her? And it's played.
What am I
very
getting
well.
myself into here?
Yeah.
That's eesh, is this
Totally
good or bad?
I love that when he first sees her, he's like,
I love the hair.
Yeah, you're the person.
I like too that it could easily have gone into like that relationship, area, but I like that they had this different kind of relationship and it didn't go there. It wasn't an easy, it wasn't that easy, line of narrative that you would expect. It sort of went off in this different direction, which I really liked.
That's what I was going to say.
The film, you hit it right on the head. The film is 100% about relationships, but it's not about romance.
Right. That's what I was going to say that I thought was a spoiler. That I was like, I love seeing that. It's a movie about a friendship, about a real relationship, and those don't always have to be romantic or anything else. It's like but it's just as important and just as compelling as for a story, and it's refreshing to see that explored.
Yeah, totally. Same when I read the script, I just loved the dichotomy between these two characters, how different they are, yet how they relate on so many different levels. And just watching how their story integrates together. I'm like trying to not give anything away.
I know. It's so hard to talk about it.
Well,
I know. I'm like, does she do it? Does she not do it? I guess.
Well, let's go back to actually when you love the script and you met Josh at a festival, which is great. Festivals are great for obviously connecting with like-minded people, and maybe their project happens because of that connection, which is what happened. So okay, you like the script, he wants to make it. How then did you start casting? Is that what was the next step, or trying to figure out where you're going to shoot this film, budget, funding, that kind of stuff?
We knew right from the get-go it had to be filmed in Chicago. I mean, Chicago itself is a character in the film. Josh and I talked about always, and so it was really important for us to try to film there if we could. That's where Josh is from. That's where he wrote it. He wrote it with very specific places in mind, like you know what I mean, like it wasn't generic, like it takes place in Chicago. Like he actually had like specific places, street corners. So really kind of first when we were putting together our lookbook, he just had like really specific ideas of the look and the places that he wanted to film. And so Chicago, like off the get-go, we were like, we have to find a way to film it there to capture the authenticity of the city and the character that it brings into the film. But independent film is interesting because there's so many different ways that you can get a movie made, right? Like there is no clear cut, cookie cutter method of how to get a movie. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, you get a starring actor in that happens, to be a friend or happens to read it, and then the funding comes from there, or vice versa. So as a producer, because I only had ever before this produced the short film that I wrote and produced. So this was like a different, beast to navigate. It took a ton of meetings. I mean, I knocked down every freaking door in Hollywood. I was like, anyone read this script? It has to be made. And we had a ton of meetings, and we pitched to like some really amazing people too. And everyone who read it were like, we love this script, but it's hard with indie films to put all those pieces together. I mean, it's like a puzzle that you're trying to like fit in at different points. And sometimes you find like a corner piece over here, and then you find a centerpiece. And it's like, how do we get these to come together into one masterpiece? So we really, at one point we almost didn't even think we were going to be able to do this because it's, it took a lot of years, but we ended up meeting Lisa Freeberg, who's my producing partner on this. And she was like an angel to us. And she really took the reins and really kind of helped us. She's worked at DreamWorks for a really long time before, so she has like way more experience than me in this. And so I learned a lot from her, which was great. And I also like, she let me, when we were filming, just kind of take a step back and really focus on the role after spending so many years, you know, in a producer aspect.
That has to be hard to do both. I mean, you'd have so many things going on in your head just to get the film done, let alone acting and getting in character. My God.
Totally. When I did my short film, because I wrote, directed, and starred in that and produced it, and I like wore way too many hats. And this go around, I was like, I'm not doing that this time. Like, I enjoyed all of it, but maybe not all together.
Oh God. And so how did you find Brad Hunt?
Brad, actually, I met in acting class.
Oh.
And it's kind of a funny story. We actually just talked about this the other night at the opening for the festival. He was never even supposed to come to that class. He was in another class, and they were full the night that I guess he was like, he had been out of class for a couple weeks, and then he had called his teacher and said, I want to come in this week. And she was like, oh my gosh, I've never said this to you, but I don't have space tonight. And so he threw another guy in my class named Jack. We call him Boston Jack because he's from Boston. But he invited Brad. He was like, oh, just come check out my class. See if you like it, you know, just for a workout. And he came in and I got paired with him. And we had the most like amazing scene. And it was one of the first times in a while in class that I caught myself like watching someone and not... Really cool. You know, like doing the extra. I was just watching him because I was like, this guy's the most fascinating actor I have ever seen. And then he kept coming back to class, and I immediately in my head was like, this guy would be the perfect Alex. Like,
he is great.
He felt so real in that character that I was just like, I have to find a way to like get him in this.
He was very authentic. I mean, I really, you didn't see, I love when actors, and you guys both did this because you could tell you're really comfortable with each other. That's sort of, you don't see anyone acting. You feel like that's just who they are. And I think that's why when the movie's ending and you're like, I don't want to say goodbye to these people because I feel like I'm seeing these people. I'm not seeing actors act, which I think is a really hard trick.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. That's a huge compliment.
Well,
I'm full of them.
The thing is, if you get a part like this and you work on it in your mind before you do it, they have a life, you know, before the film starts, and they have a life after the film is over, and that's a hard thing to pull into it. I've talked to a lot of actors about movies, and actors feel that way too. They feel like, you know, I only get this character is only alive for these scenes. And in the end of the film, you know, it's a wrap. The character exists no more, you know? And so I've known some film actors who are like, I'd love to do television because you can do 7 years of this character, you know, if the show doesn't get canceled. Like if this was a TV series, you'd be able to play October through all kinds of things, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think with film, sometimes you lose that. You lose that character, and I think sometimes it's a little, you know, like a shock, I guess, and that's why wrap parties are always so full of tears and hugs, you know.
I know. I mean, yeah, wrapping is always like the worst day.
Yeah,
it's like you know what I mean, like a family. It's almost like
oh, it's totally a family.
It's like the last day of summer camp, and then you're like, am I ever going to see you again?
I know,
or it's so like old war buddies. You know, when you talk about it, you catch yourself talking about it like you hear people talking about, you know, when they were over in the, you know, in the battlefield, and it's like, yeah, I remember the time we were, you know, and you experience a lot making a film. People don't realize how much like combat it can be.
Oh, I mean, I'm like, you go through so much together.
Yeah.
Especially with characters like these.
Yeah.
I mean, we went through, a lot.
The emotions, you know, you put yourself into these situations with people that aren't real, but you're making them real. And, you know, you like when people fall in love in a film or whatever, it's like you carry that out of the film with you.
Also, the supporting characters are great. You know, Ethan Kutkoski plays Josh. Rivka Reyes plays Kate. Lisa Zane plays your mom, and they're all wonderful. And even the small characters, the ones that we just see, like there's that great scene with the accordion player and the dodgeball scene.
Yeah.
And I love that scene. It's just, first of all, you have some wonderful music, and you see him, and you just get 5 seconds of what this particular character is doing, and adds so much to the scene. So it's peppered. The film is peppered with interesting, small characters, small parts. And
That's all Josh. That's what, like, when he writes those things and you see it on paper and you're like, yeah, okay. But then when you see it, when we were filming it, like I did the same thing the day that guy came, I was just like, it's totally different seeing it than when you read it on paper. But that is the beauty of Josh's writing, and his vision is he knows exactly what he's seeing when he's writing it. And then when you finally see it as he does, you're like, oh my God, okay, now I get it. Like, and it makes so much sense, and it adds so much. In that simple moment, it adds like a ton.
It's a very real thing that didn't have to be in there. He could have just walked in and started playing dodgeball, but that character's there, and that's a real, like, that could happen on the city streets of Chicago or anywhere. So
well, it puts you in a place, and that's the thing you were talking before about giving actors and performers space to breathe. It's kind of a lost art in a way. You see that in a lot of older films. I always go back. I'm like the old film obsessive, and I love the 70s is a really good era, and I think it's something that a lot of filmmakers, I think, are afraid to let things play out and to really let you sit in a place or show you an environment and let you sit in that environment, let you experience that environment. I was thinking about this movie too, not to compare it or anything. It's not quite Harold and Maude, but it's a relationship between people who are very, very different. And
I can see that. I'm with you on that.
But that movie really has a lot of scenes where you get to be with these people in the place where they live. And that, like you said, it adds so much. It adds a feel for the film. And once you're in the place, then you paint that with the characters, with the backstories of the characters and everything, and you're totally sold. You're in there. You live it. You're living it with them, and you feel it.
We got so lucky with I love that you even mentioned the guest cast or, the supporting cast, because we were so lucky with all of the talent that we got on film. Every single role, I think. Yeah. I was in awe of some of the talent that we were able to pull in from Chicago. But I mean, Chicago is so rich with talent in and of itself. It has a thriving acting community and a ton of amazing people there. Right. So the pool of actors to choose from was huge. Yeah. And we got, and super lucky that Ethan is also really familiar with Chicago, because that's where they shoot a lot of Shameless. They shoot a lot of Shameless there and in Detroit. But so he was familiar with the city too, and Rivka's from Chicago, so she, everyone that was there, it was very authentic to them, because most of them have either from there or they have filmed there extensively and lived there. So
I was impressed. I was really impressed, especially for an indie, low budget film, is that you shot in so many locations. And I think that really helps give a good vibe. Like, Chad mentioned Chicago's an interesting city, and talk about how it's utilized. I was kind of like, wow, they're shooting so many things outside, which is really difficult. So it's beautifully I was very, too. And that's what I think gives it that extra, richness, is that you're seeing a lot of, in environments where the suburbs or cities, a lot of walking around at night. I just loved that feeling, and it really did make you feel like part of it. Just seeing the outside. It's not just inside these little rooms. It's really. You guys,
really we had a lot of locations.
So many. Yeah. I was how many?
I can't even tell you how many times we had to redo this schedule over and over again, because
imagine
of the amount of locations that we had to work with.
How long was your shoot?
We shot, what was it? About a month, a little over a month. Yeah, we started in November, early November. We took a week off, or a few days off, not even a week, for Thanksgiving, and then ended up shooting about 2 weeks into December.
Yeah, so you get that great cold Chicago feel in this.
Oh, it was freezing.
All the jackets and sweaters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, actually, the wardrobe was the best part, because I got to put on as many layers as I wanted, and it totally worked. But there were a couple nights like where we shot overnight, like especially like on the lake, the night outside the theater, that the weather got to like 9 degrees or something crazy. And I'm not like I'm from I'm from Arizona originally, but I'm from California forever. Like my thin blood was like, what is this?
8 degrees. Oh my God.
There were a couple of nights that I like in between takes was just like, and then I was like, okay, if we get it together, we got to say these lines.
It's funny that you can tell people look cold. Like, you know how in some movies they're supposed to be cold, but they're not really shooting anywhere cold. They have it all, it's all fake. And you can just tell, when people have that like just tense, I'm cold feeling. It's almost subtle. You don't notice it right off, but it again gives you that really authentic feeling.
If you see the look on my face of like, oh my God, like that's real, that's authentic.
The coldest I've ever been in my life was in Chicago. It was like, I grew up in Florida, so I used to play in a band, and we played in Chicago, and I'd never been to Chicago, and we were 3 like hillbilly, kids from Florida in this sort of punk rock club and a band, and we're like, wow, it's like 0 degrees outside. Let's go out the back door of the club and just experience it for a minute, And we went out the back door. The 3 of us went out the back into the parking lot, and the door closed and it locked, So we're out there, like tough guys. We can handle it for like 1 second. And then we had to run around the whole block to go to the front door again.
Oh
we almost died.
Chicago's so tough because the weather there is so bipolar.
Yeah. Especially in the city between the buildings.
And at one point we were like, is this going to ruin continuity? But then everyone who has ever filmed there and all the people that live there were like, well, if you've ever been to Chicago, you know that
changes on a dime.
This is just normal. So like it could be snowing. Like it snowed, I think the whole first week or like the week before we got there. And we were like, oh my God, it's going to be like feet of snow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then like second week it like warmed up and all the snow melted and we're like, oh, okay, great. Cause you don't shoot in sequence. So we're like, how is this gonna look?
That sounds like a logistical nightmare. Just, shooting all those locations in a big city. I mean, you have to,
and like you said, a lot of them are outdoors. So it's like, you can't hide that stuff.
No.
One of our viewers has a question. Our friend Chad says, on a tight budget, how does grabbing in a city like that, locations? I think his question is, he says you don't want to get in trouble, you guys stealing locations. He's wondering if you, like, how do you do it on a low budget? Did you get you may not want to talk about this, but did you get all your permits? And
we did get all of our permits.
Don't arrest anyone. We did it.
Nice. Okay.
I think the hardest one to get was outside of the metro.
Yeah.
Because that one, they have like very specific
transportation,
like how you can film and you can't step on the platform or you can't, like on the train. And that I think was the trickiest one. But to be honest, when it came to all the locations, I was just like, I'm gonna bow out from this side as a producer. Like
someone else
you guys handle all that.
Yeah, they have people
that would
that
be
do
so
that.
hard.
Yeah. Well, we got super lucky though. My random like kind of like an extended uncle. He is the police chief in Countryside, Illinois. So it's right outside of Chicago.
Nice.
So he helped us a lot with
streamlining things, getting things done quickly. Yeah.
With outside location, like the driving stuff, he was able to like make sure that we had like police escort so that it was safe and shut down some of the streets for us. And he was super helpful. And he like to be able to shoot inside of the actual police station.
Yeah.
That was there. It was their old police station. It was so serendipitous because I just I reached out to him just to see. I was like, hey, we're trying to find a jail, which is like the hardest location to possibly try to find. And like, what do you think? Or do you know anywhere? And they had just moved, the Countryside Police Department had just moved buildings. And so they had literally just moved out of that building. And he was like, oh yeah, the building that we just moved out of is vacant right now. And he was like, they were gonna like auction it off or something. But he was like, maybe we can delay the auction until your shoot. Nice. So he ended up like pulling some strings with the city to like keep the location secured for us, and then ended up like keeping all of the like all the what is it called, like desks and
like
Wow.
fittings and furniture, set deck, and all
yeah,
that.
like
Wow.
different furnishings and stuff. And so
Oh,
he was
nice.
able to help, kind of secure that. So that ended up being, it was like Lisa and I the whole time were like, could not have been any more serendipitous that
Wow.
the timing worked out like exactly perfect for that. And it was like the perfect feel and look
Nice.
Yes.
for the film.
Yeah.
Kind of made you
shows.
want to do a Roger Corman and make another really quick film that takes place entirely inside a jail, right?
Right. Well, because the new building they moved into was like, like all glass and like super fancy and
Right.
new. We're like, that wouldn't have fit with the film at all. But this
Right.
like old rundown dingy
That's what you
police
want.
station, like, yeah, that works.
Perfect.
That's so funny. I love that.
And you don't have to worry about times or people coming back to work or anything like that. It's like you got it for as
Exactly.
long as
Yeah,
you
it
want,
was
day or
perfect. We
night.
were able to have the building, literally all day. So I
Yeah.
mean, and you didn't have to go in and out, because I know people who have shot inside of like working
Yeah.
jails, and it's tough because you're working around like real life emergency
right.
scenarios of
I've worked
these
on
people who are
shows
working.
like that where it's like, okay, hold the roll, and they bring a prisoner through. It's like, okay, everybody in places. Action.
So funny.
That's so
Oh my
awkward.
God. I love that. It's very authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So
There's-
tonight's gonna be exciting at the Chinese
Yeah.
Theater.
Yeah.
So that's the premiere. What time is that?
So the movie's at 9:30 p.m.
Mm-hmm. Great.
So get there if you're coming. Of what I understand, they start like right on time. So you want to get there early, probably
Right.
like 9:00.
And there are multiple films through the night.
Yeah,
Are you
so
the only-
there are blocks of films that are happening all day today.
Okay.
We're the last for the evening, and then we'll do a Q&A after.
I was going to ask you to have a Q&A. Great.
Yeah,
And there are other festivals in the future for the film, and
hopefully. I mean, we've been
Could be
submitting
determined.
to a ton. I think a lot of deadlines are coming up, so hopefully
Right.
we get good news soon.
you'll get in
Can
more
imagine.
for sure. It's
We're really hoping for Chicago, obviously, because that's where
Yeah.
we filmed, and
Sure.
I think that would be a really cool spot,
Get
because then
all-
we could bring the whole cast out to come
Oh,
see
yeah.
it. And
Oh, it'd be
Yeah.
so good.
One of our viewers asked if you're going to watch it. Marissa
I,
Pasick.
you know what? I hate watching myself.
Oh,
We all do. We do these videos. We're like, oh,
You could be. You
I
could be
can't
out in the-
imagine being on big screen.
You could be
Oh
out in the
no,
lobby,
I haven't
lobby
seen it
walking
yet, but I am gonna watch it. I'm stoked. I wanted to experience it with everyone.
in a theater, yeah. How,
Yeah.
how
Big
nice.
screen.
Oh, you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen the whole thing. No,
Wow.
I purposely was like, I don't want to watch. I mean, I had the link, but I was like, I'm not watching it until I want to watch it like
Yeah.
with everyone, because I feed off of the energy
Sure.
of all the people that are watching it too.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to experience it with it. Hopefully, it's like positive energy.
I
Oh,
think you're
no,
going
I-
to have a good experience. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be good. Good
I've
response.
missed movie theaters too.
Yeah.
I want to go back to
Same.
movie theaters.
Yeah.
It's
Same.
so sad.
It's
I
totally
want the
different watching a movie
It really
in a
is.
theater.
There's just, and sometimes you'll hear someone reacting to something you may not have picked up on right away. And I sort of like taking
Yeah.
a cue from other audience members. It's really cool.
Right. I'm always the one that laughs when you're not supposed to. Like,
I'm always the dumb one. I always tell this story, but Sixth Sense, the end of Sixth Sense. I heard, the sounds in the audience of people going, "Oh, I know what," and I'm like, "What?
you're like, what?
What's the twist?
What?"
What happened?
What did I miss?
And there's people who are like, "Oh, that's so cool," and like, "What?" And it took me, and then finally, I was like, "Oh."
in the parking lot afterwards.
Oh, now I get it.
It's like trying to sleep, and I'm like, "Oh."
So do you have any upcoming projects you want to talk about, or any new things you?
Right now,
Discuss?
I've been auditioning a lot. I mean, everything kind of obviously got
Yeah.
Yeah.
sidelined for a
Yeah.
while,
Yeah.
so it was hard on everyone. Like all of my filmmaker actor friends, I think this last year were like, "What do we do?" Like,
Seriously.
there's no like creativity happening, and
I know.
finding ways to keep yourself occupied, especially, I mean, like the entertainer community, we're all
Yeah.
very antsy as it is, and like
Yeah.
have to do something always. So it was a hard year, but
Yeah.
It really was.
everything's been picking back up again, which is good. So I've just been
Mhm.
auditioning a lot, and honestly, I mean, as much as I said I try not to be a producer during the filming, but I really loved the aspect of producing more than I thought I would. I never really thought of myself at all in that role.
Yeah.
But I kind of love seeing something through from beginning to end and being a part of all the little pieces that you have to put things together. So I actually really loved that. So I would love to produce another project. I loved working with Lisa too, our producer. So I'm hoping that like her and I can work on something together, or, you know, we're reading a bunch of other scripts. She has a ton of like amazing scripts that she has the rights to and stuff. So I think it'll just kind of be figuring out what the next right project was. Cause we knew from the get-go, like this was going to be the first film, because A, like the budget fit, B, it was just like the right tone to come out for the film, like of the type of, you know, the style of film that we wanted to do. So now it's kind of like what goes in after that still kind of fits in with your same. Brad and I told Josh, we were like, just write us another script.
Yeah. Did you
Josh,
film
if
this?
you're watching, write another script.
Just do it.
Do you write? Are you a writer?
Kind of. I mean, I would not call myself a writer, but I have like the short film that I did. I said like I wrote that. That was just like a quirky, based off of a real. Somebody commented,
She was asking if
Carefree.
If you've done any more writing during the break.
I have a couple projects that I was writing on, but man, writing is hard.
Sure is.
I don't know how Josh does it. I'm like, it's hard.
It is. It's
but
hard.
you know,
everything to do with a film is hard. That's the fun thing about movies.
I know, right?
It's like every job. It's hard to be a grip, man. It's hard to do anything. Hard to do props. It's like that's what's so fun about film is when you get on the set. You know, I've worked in films for way before you were born, and it's always that I'm still blown away every time I walk onto a working set. It's like
Same.
every one of these people is the absolute best, or they would not be here. And
right.
And everyone is really good at what they do. And I love that feeling of this machine that actually produces a thing that can transport you and teleport you into another place and emotion and all that kind of stuff. But while it's being made, you cannot recognize the end product from what is being constructed on the set, you know, and it's like everybody knows what to do, and finally it all fits together perfectly.
Yeah.
I love that feeling.
Tara.
Same. I'm always in awe when I walk on a set. Same. When I look around, I think the coolest thing I got to do a live multicam show called Marlin in front of a live studio audience, and that was like the first time that I had ever done that, and that was probably the coolest, most terrifying experience of my entire life.
Yeah.
Because you've got a live audience. It's like if those jokes don't slap, like the dead silence is enough to make you want to just die. And then going against, it was with Marlon Wayans, and Marlon Wayans is like the, you know, most talented comedian and improv actor probably ever. So I was like terrified, but I walked on set, and it's like, it's a huge studio, and they have, you know, 4 multicams running at the same time, and they're like a well-oiled machine. And I just was like, this is crazy. The level of, it's like putting on a live play, but then you're filming it with 4 simultaneous cameras at the same time. And the directors of those shows, I'm like, that's nuts, because they have to know what cameras to cut to, and it's crazy.
I have worked on some live audience shows like that, and you know, no reshoots. Sorry, you know, it's like, and we've had
Tara,
some horrible, weird things happen, and it's like, you know, just keep going, keep rolling.
Yeah.
Like
Tara,
Dark Shadows or something.
Josh, your director and writer, Josh, has said he's got a stack of scripts ready for you and Brad.
Oh, good.
There, lots to do.
Oh, good. There was another one that he wrote that I read, and I'm spacing on the name right now, but also took place in Chicago, and we called it our Before Sunset movie. Josh, what was the name of it? If you're writing comic, because that one I really love also.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That one was like a very whimsical. story.
I think when this film gets out and people see it, you'll get plenty of work, either as an actor or producer or both. So you're gonna
Thank
get busy.
you.
I
Yeah.
want to I want to ask our question that I always like to ask our guests. We all work in the industry and we haven't been jaded by it yet. You know, we haven't been ruined or broken or destroyed by it yet. And I think it's maybe not going to happen because, you know, it's been so long. But
I think you just have to innately be already broken, and that's how you get through it.
yeah, you do. You have to already get the joke, I think.
You can't break
You don't-
something that's already broke, right?
Right. It's already burned out of me. I don't have one. I don't have a soul.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
no, it's something I think you really do have to have a soul to get the joke. You know, it's like some people come out here, they expect it to be really easy and all that kind of stuff, or they expect it to be what they think it is. But you have to come out here with this, you know, it's like it's a bit of a nightmare. But you know, if you can handle it, it rewards the creative and the hard workers. But one thing that we always like to ask is, what is it that got you interested in doing what you do? Like, what movie? Is there a movie, or was there a moment when you were watching a movie and you were like, I want to do that, or a performer, an actress or actor, anything that triggered it?
I mean, really early on, when I played the tree in, I actually did though, and I was like, "This is fun."
I was the best tree.
Yeah. But no, I mean, really early on, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. That there was nothing else that I would be fulfilled by.
Right.
I did theater the whole, you know, childhood like everybody else. And then I decided pretty early on that I was like, I'm just going to go out and I'm going to give it a shot. I think the movie that really made me, there's probably other movies before this, but I think the movie that like ultimately was like, no, I have to do this. It like inspired me so much was Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh,
When I saw that movie, I was just like, this is the kind of filmmaking that I would want to do, or the kind of movies that I would want to be, the kind of characters that I would want to play. And I just love that movie so much. And I think that's another reason why when I read Alex October, that I loved it so much, because it does have a reminiscence of
yeah.
It does.
of that
A little
film.
bit, yeah.
Yeah. And so it like tugged on that piece of me of like, that was one of the films that I remember I watched 100 times and was like, I want to do this. I think the other movie, purely for like fun, and it's like my favorite movie of all time, is Empire Records. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But it's like the epitome of the 90s. And
Yeah.
I spent an entire summer watching that movie literally on repeat every day, like 30 times a day. I was just like obsessed with that movie for like a whole summer.
That's so
And-
funny because your record store scene totally. I was even thinking of that movie when I saw that scene happening. I'm like, oh, this is kind of like Empire Records.
Totally. It's my favorite movie. I love all the characters in that. And I just love that movie so much. That was one of the ones that I was like, this is fun. And
Yes.
like, what a cool industry, I guess. That was like one of the first movies that I was like, I want to do like make a fun movie like that.
Yeah.
We had another question a bit ago, and it was, I can't see it right now. Where is it? Okay. I think it was basically like, is there a type of character or a character that you would like to play, like something that you want in your future?
I know my mom
That's a
always wants
tough
me to do
question.
comedy. She's like, do comedy. You'd be so funny. But I'm like, I really like the dark. I like the dark characters.
Comedy's
I don't know why. I'm
hard. Comedy's
so
the
drawn
hardest
to them.
thing.
Yeah. I think, honestly, for me, it's like anytime I read a character that I get emotionally involved with for whatever reason. It could be literally anything, a part of it, are like the characters that I'm drawn to. I like people who struggle. I don't know. I like the aspect of showing real rawness and struggle. And so I would say like those are probably the characters.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, October is much like that.
I know.
Very
But you know what would be really cool? I would never probably ever work something like that would be like some like crazy action movie, like Hunger Games or something.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
Just because
I
it would
love
just be
that.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So fun. So somebody, Chris Toombs wants to know how to get tickets. I posted a link to the schedule on Dances with Film's website.
Yeah.
So you can just go there and just click buy ticket, done, go.
I think you
There.
can
So-
also buy them at the box office too
Yep.
tonight. So I think
Okay,
you can
good.
show up at the theater and buy them on the spot also.
Great.
But
Well-
you should come out. It's going to be a great time.
I know we
I'm
should.
I'm very
Yeah. Well,
excited.
Are you going to do your
Are you guys
handprints in
coming? You live here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, we all
We
do.
might. We might. You know, we're so like I'm such a shut-in now after
I know.
But this might be cool to go to the Chinese theater. I'm gonna have to talk
Yeah.
my husband into it.
And
guys should
festivals
come
are
out.
great. It would,
That'd be really fun.
I might do that actually.
The
with
big
my wife.
screen,
We're gonna
yeah.
check it
It's
out.
at the
It's gonna be
Chinese
awesome.
theater. Are you going to do your handprints in the concrete? I mean, if nobody's looking and you bring your own concrete?
Yes.
That's a great idea.
In the corner.
Yeah.
What can I
Just
can I
kinda-
do it like a Sharpie and then just like draw the outline of it on
Yeah.
someone else's?
Just
Do it over
dump some
Marilyn
fresh
Monroe.
concrete over Fred Astaire's handprints and put
Yeah,
your own in
exactly.
there.
Oh, that's so funny.
And then I get arrested and
Yeah.
great
And
night.
then you're huge. Yeah.
Oh my
Well,
god.
Tara, this was so much fun. Thank you so
I
much.
know.
For spending
Yeah.
some
Thank
time
you
with
guys for
us.
having me on.
And
It was really fun.
Alex October at the Dances with Films Festival tonight at the Chinese theaters in Hollywood. So please go check it out and watch his film wherever you see it. Sooner or later, it'll be distributed out there for everybody to see, hopefully. Because
And will you come back and do the podcast again with your other films?
Yes. 100%. Dude, I'll just come on and chat with you guys anytime.
Yeah, we love
Exactly.
that. You come on and we'll talk
Anytime.
about movies, and we do these things where we just get together and we talk about movies that we've been thinking about lately. You know, just very loose.
If you have a
cast
movie
and
you want to
stuff.
talk about, let us know and we'll have you
Oh
on.
my God. I would love, yes, please. Let's keep in touch. Have me on. Literally, I will come on and just like shoot the
But you have to have this laptop.
Yeah.
SHIT. I know. I know. Next
the
time
only
there will
one that
not be
works.
technical difficulties now that
It was
we
it was totally worth the
Totally
wait.
worth it. It was
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Okay.
All
All right.
We're gonna sign off.
But
Thanks
you
for
stick around
joining
for a
us.
second.
Yeah, hang
Okay.
out. We'll talk about.
Thanks,
stuff
guys.
off
Everyone
the
come
air.
tonight. Come check
Yeah.
out the movie.
Hey, you guys out there, everybody, thanks for coming and asking questions. It was awesome.
Yeah. This was live. This is crazy. Now I'm starting to get nervous. Wait a minute. We were live. All right.
All right. Run us
right.
out.
Thanks everybody.
Bye.
All right,
See you
thanks.
next time.
Bye.